final quarter begins right now.
And welcome to the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus. John Howard, Karthik Venkatraman. I am Jake Garriani. It's felt like it's been about a month layoff. It's only really been 2 weeks, but SDFC will be back on the postseason pitch this Monday against Minnesota United. We learned today, as John Howard will inform all of us, about a couple of key contributors. John, take it away about this matchup.
Well, Mikey Varis went Bill Belichick on us when we asked him about Chucky Lozano and whether or not he'll play. He had a hamstring barking at him during the international time period. And Andres Dreyer, who left from the Denmark team with some illness, and all he would say is yes when he was asked, are they available? But we do have more sound. Am I setting up the soundbite from Mikey right now?
We'll get to it in just a second.
Okay.
Let's let Karthik have his bit as well. But to your point, John, Anders Dreyer, Chucky Lozano sound like they will be out there on the pitch on Monday against Minnesota United. So let's get your thoughts with the two key contributors out there about this matchup against Minnesota United.
Yeah, I definitely think with this match coming up, as they're getting ready to play, it'll be big for San Diego FC. These matches against Minnesota this year were a little crazy. I think the first time they played Minnesota, they were on an international break. They were missing a couple of guys. Dreyer did play in that match. I remember he hit that one from like midfield where he thumped one out. And then in their second match against Minnesota, it really felt like that was a match that they should have won. And they controlled that match for most of the time. But then 70th minute, all of a sudden, Minnesota just started pouring it on, and San Diego FC lost. So I'm kind of interested to see. It feels like a match in which San Diego FC has the opportunities to score a lot of goals against Minnesota United because they showed it the first time they played them. And in that second time they played them, they should have scored a lot, and they didn't. So we'll see what ends up happening. I do think in this case that San Diego FC will have a great opportunity to go out there and win.
Yeah, that second match, I believe, was a 3-1 final.
Correct.
Is that the one you're talking about?
And they got up 3-0, and then San Diego FC scored a garbage time goal.
Yeah, and SDFC outshot them like 25-5 or something. So San Diego FC just needs to take better advantage of their opportunities.
And it is do or die now. No 3-game series, none of that. It is win or go home. SDFC against Minnesota United again on Monday. Let's hear from head coach Mikey Varis regarding the two designated players.
We don't take anybody for granted, here it's everybody who's pulling in the same direction, and of course, the guys who are starters and play big minutes for you. Of course, you never take them for granted, but we also don't overthink it because the international window comes and goes, and life's going to throw you what life throws you. And the most important thing is, of course, you can be hopeful and prepared for the best case scenario, but you got to be ready to deal with whatever life throws at you in any given moment. The good news is both of them are healthy and available, which is, for me, best case scenario.
That is best case scenario. And as Karthik said, not a best of three. It's an elimination match. And if it goes to overtime, does not go directly to penalty kicks, there'll be an extra time period and then eventually penalty kicks after that if it goes tied.
I think Jake said it, but I'll take credit for it, too, John.
Sorry about that.
Piece of
That's fine. I'm used to it.
Oh, man, I can't hear.
All right, Jake, back to you, buddy.
I think well, let's not worry about any overtime, any PKs. SDFC take care of business in those 90 minutes and change. Let's move on to Aztecs football, the football of the other kind. What a monster win at Snapdragon Stadium over the Boise State Broncos. A rainy night, smaller crowd than I'm sure they would have wanted. Nonetheless, it was a win over the Broncos, a team they had trouble beating over and over and over. And now they control their destiny to a Mountain West title, something they haven't done in almost a decade. Let's start with the Aztec alum. How much pride were you brimming with, John Howard, when you saw the Scarlet and Black take care of Boise?
Well, a lot more pride than the previous week when they did not show up in Hawaii. And I got to tell you, the wins that the Aztecs have pulled off here in the conference season, they've just made the other teams look like they're not at the same level as San Diego State. Yet the Aztecs just got romped against Hawaii. So let's hope that the Aztecs defense, as sound as it is, continues to show up in the final 2 weeks, get these next two wins, and actually get to host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. It's a grand opportunity. They control their own destiny. They just have to do it.
Yeah, I think for that game against San Diego State, I went into it thinking that they were going to get the job done. You come out of that Hawaii game, you go into this one knowing that they're probably not going to have another letdown. That defense has overall played really well this season, so I really wasn't worried, especially because Boise State was playing without their starting quarterback in Maddox Matson, who's a huge part of that team. And so I figured San Diego State's defense was going to take care of business. Their running game definitely took care of business. I'm still a little worried about Jaden Denigal as we move through this thing. Might not matter so much, but as we're talking about the final couple of games before potentially hosting a Mountain West Conference championship in the city of San Diego in Snapdragon Stadium, that I hope fans would show up for at that certain point. But when we're talking about that, what do I always say when we come to this point? You got it in your hands. Don't fumble the bag. Here we are, San Diego State. I think they still got to figure out that passing game a little more. I know it was raining a lot during that game, but it let up at sometimes, and 17 passing yards isn't a great sign, and trust for your quarterback.
It was pretty ugly through the air, to your point. Weather did, on both sides, prove that it was challenging. And when you got a Doak Walker semifinalist like Lucky Sutton, why not give it to 7 as much as possible? And it's 2 times now, you guys, that the Aztecs have bounced back in big ways after getting completely bullied. Up in Pullman, got smacked by Wazoo, right? Washington State bounced back nicely. And then in Hawaii, get smacked by the Rainbow Warriors, come back and beat Boise State. So it's a team that proves that they can come back from those really, really ugly losses. Now, this Saturday, they will take on San Jose State. It will be the final regular season home game, and it will be senior night for San Diego State. Sean Lewis, what do you think about that senior class?
I was asked very, very early on when I got here, like, Coach, what type of coach are you? I'm like, well, I'm a player's coach, right? And so you're thankful and grateful for the kids believing in your vision. You're thankful and grateful for them entrusting you with this precious time in their lives. Like, this is, it's such a small window that they have to play this game at this level, and they're entrusting us as a staff to help them grow, to help them mature, to help them develop, so hopefully that they can aspire to and reach their dreams of playing at the next level, and to have a experience here that they'll look back on and say, man, that was one of the best times of my life, right? There's going to be a lot of great things that come for these guys with marriage and fatherhood and all the other things, right? But, right now I hope they reflect back on this time, and while they're in it right now, they take a moment in the present to be present and know how truly special this is, and to soak it up. So they mean everything to me. Without them, I'd just be some tall, bald, bearded guy that's obsessed with football, right? With them and with their belief, I get to be called coach, and they give me purpose every single day.
I love it, right? Without these cameras, we're just 3 random dudes, too. I get it, Sean Lewis.
Even with the camera, I'm a random dude.
Yeah, we're just 3 random dudes anyways, but especially without the cameras. Kickoff against the Spartans, 7:30 Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. It will be interesting to see how that field holds up with the rain and the weather, and then SDFC's got to be back on the pitch Monday.
Yep.
Oh, all the talk about the grass at Snapdragon for so long. Hopefully it does hold up. No problems with grass in Viejas Arena, just problems with how the Aztecs basketball team played. A loss against Troy, a double overtime loss against Troy, 108-107, in one of the greatest November games you will ever witness, no doubt about it. But it is a loss at home to Troy, a Sun Belt team, a huge knock on the Aztecs' NCAA resume moving forward, you two.
Very frustrating. They lost this game, the Aztecs did, by missing 14 free throws.
20 turnovers.
And turning the ball over 20 times. It's absolutely, they have no one to blame but themselves, and you got to hand it to Troy. Troy blew a 12-point lead in the first half, blew a 12-point lead with 4 minutes to go in the game, and then still survived the buzzer beater from half court by Miles Bird, fell back by 4 in overtime, fell back by 4 in double overtime. Troy it was the team that wanted it more. It was a great game. It just stinks that the Aztecs came away with a loss.
I wouldn't be too worried about it, guys. I mean, first off, very early in the season, there's a lot of new pieces on the team. I think when you come into a new system, you got to learn this defense. You're going to have some inconsistency bumps. They've also had issues with turnovers coming into this basketball game. I think this is still a team trying to figure things out. And how many times do we see allowing over 100-plus points in Viejas Arena? Never. I think this is
double overtime.
Yeah, double overtime, too. I think this is a team that obviously figures it out. They've got a lot of talent. This is a huge bump early on. Troy is a team that scores a lot. It was a good test for them to try and figure out some kinks moving forward with this defense and, getting things done. But, I think you do have to take some positive takeaways from it. They did score a lot of points. Magoon Gwath came back, and he looked really good, even though he played off the bench. And I think as we move forward, we talk about who's in that starting starting lineup, I think obviously Magungwath, you have to put him in there. Miles Bird has shown, even though, I know Coach Dutcher said he didn't play as great of a defense as he wants, but Miles Bird seems like a consistency who played well. And Reese Dixon Waters played like 43 minutes the other night, which is pretty crazy, all things considered with the injury he had last year, how much he's been able to be resilient and be a consistency for those teams. We're talking about those three guys, I think, solidified starters. Who fills in the other two spots in that rotation moving forward, and then who gets the playing time on the bench? These are things that Coach Dutcher is still trying to figure out as well as he plays guys. Even in the post-game press conference, he talked about, I should have played Farrell Compton more. These are things that I think he's still trying to figure out. This team's still trying to figure things out. He said from the beginning of the season, doesn't know how good they're going to be early on, but he believes they're going to have a good team. I still believe they're going to have a good team. And look, last year, they had losses that weren't good. They had wins that were as ugly as they can get, and they still made the NCAA tournament. They're going to be fine.
One of the only reasons they made the NCAA tournament last year is because they beat Houston. I think this loss to Troy adds a ton of pressure to this upcoming Players Era tournament when they take on Michigan and some of these really big teams coming up, that they have to get some of these wins now, because the committee does not forget a loss to a Sun Belt team like Troy, as good of a team as they are. Brian Dutcher, what went wrong, man?
Giving up 89 points in a home game at Viejas is unheard of. So obviously it had a lot to do with them, some to do with us, and a little bit in between. It looked like this game was just racing each other to see who could score the most points. And that's not Aztec basketball. So lessons to be learned. I like my team. I always say it's a long journey, and I don't know how good it's going to be at the start, finish, or middle, but it's going to be a journey, and we're going to get better. So we'll use this to grow from. The guys say the right things in the locker room after the game about being better defensively, being better in practice, all the things you want to hear from them. So that's why I know we're going to get better. No excuse making. They're focused on the journey and getting better every day, and we'll get better this week because of it.
All right, Brian Dutcher shares your sentiment, Karthik. They're going to get better. It will be no problem whatsoever. A sad note in San Diego, the Padres lost an icon. The lefty Randy Jones has died at the age of 75. Our own John Howard put together a wonderful piece on the type of person, and more importantly, the type of personality that was Randy Jones.
I get throwers in here, and what I do is, like my first question to them, I ask them what the best pitch in baseball is. And very rarely does anybody come up with the right answer, which is a strike.
Jones was a character who knew how to pitch.
81, 82 miles an hour really was my fastball, but I found that the ball sunk better if I stayed around 70 miles an hour, 72. I was a ground ball pitcher, so I was trying to get him to hit the first or second pitch.
When his playing days were over, he built a barbecue business.
Barbecued burgers, nothing greater.
He seemed to be a never-ending ambassador to the Padres organization, and he hosted an outdoor show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Randy Jones Strike Zone Show. Well, we're still here in New Zealand, doing a little surf fishing, a little bird hunting, a little championship golf.
As for golf, more than once he appeared as a guest on our Beat the Pro segment to help raise funds for the Boys and Girls Foundation.
Feels familiar.
Looks like your fishing stroke.
Yeah, if there's nothing on the end of the line.
Is that why it's familiar?
Oh, that's why it's familiar. That's why they call it fishing and not catching.
Jones was a Cy Young Award winner the season he threw 25 complete games. The pitcher who led that category in the big leagues this year had just 2. He didn't waste pitches.
Probably the claim to fame is I beat Pittsburgh 1-0 one time when I threw 68 pitches in 9 innings. 59 were strikes.
He still holds the Padres records for starts, innings pitched, complete games, and shutouts. His teammate, Kurt Bavacqua.
All of the memories that the fans of San Diego have, I think are well-meaned. Randy was a great guy. He sure loved San Diego, and he was a Padre. We've lost some pretty good people in the last few years, the Padre family, and Randy surely is one of them.
What's the value of this signature? Is there any idea, Randy, what that might be value worth?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, number 35. I'm glad that his number is there in the courtyard at Petco Park. He'll forever be remembered. For those of us that had the pleasure of meeting him and getting to know him and spending some time with him, he was the type of guy where if you spent some time with him during the day, your day was a better day because of it. He just was an up personality, He was one of those good old boys that he would give you some ribbing even if he had just met you. So a great guy, an icon here in the San Diego market, and he's definitely going to be missed.
I definitely haven't been here as long as you guys have, but he was the first real former Padre of significance that I got to meet. And we were going in the elevator over at Petco Park, and I was getting ready to get in the elevator, and I pointed to him to go forward. He just tapped me on the shoulder away. He just seemed like a nice guy, and I've heard so many great stories. It's just sad to see, such a Padres legend pass away. And, he meant so much to this community. And, after his playing days was really true to staying in San Diego and being part of this organization. So I always thought that was really cool about Randy.
He's also got the Mac Davis look going there with the fro.
One of those personalities that was just larger than life. You heard Randy talk about his efficiency when he was pitching. Well, how about instead of hearing it from Randy, you hear it from one of, if not the greatest hitter MLB has ever seen. This is back in 2024. Listen to this man talk about Randy Jones.
Jones had 92, but he had no hitting back then, right? The Padres couldn't hit in the 70s.
No.
So that's another reason that I want to put a spotlight.
And I couldn't hit Randy Jones either.
Too slow?
Sinker. He gets you out. He's one of those guys that he piss you off when he gets you out. And you run by the mound when you ground out to first, and you say, get that shit over. Shit is not an expression pitchers like to hear. Randy, he didn't throw hard enough to break a glass. But it start out here and end up here, and you get yourself out.
Ground ball pitcher. He knew how to produce them.
So good. Two of the late greats of our game, Randy Jones and Pete Rose, who will be missed. Obviously, there's been a ton of changes for the San Diego Padres when you talk about everything that's gone on, from the death of Randy Jones and Peter Seidler and lawsuits, and now the team potentially being up for sale. And in fact, it's something that Rob Manfred at the owners' meeting, the commissioner of baseball, was asked about. Hey, what's going on with this sale of the San Diego Padres, and what do you think about it?
Look, my guess is that it's a really appealing franchise. They've done a great job building a fan base. The in-ballpark experience in San Diego is probably one of our best. They got some great players, and I expect there will be people that will be interested in buying.
Yeah, I definitely think he's right. There should be people interested in buying. Thank you for stating the obvious there, Mr. Manfred. But, what else do you have to say? The Padres are obviously a hot commodity. They win. They fill up the ballpark. People care about this team. They're relevant, and they're fun to watch. And they have a very talented core. Who wouldn't want to buy this team?
Yeah. The only downside of the sale is the TV rights revenue. Sure. You're not making as much money as the Dodgers are with your TV rights.
Who
but
is
otherwise,
making as much money as the Dodgers are, John?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who knows, right? Go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just going to say Peter Seidler built a great thing. He brought the players in. The fans have shown up. The ballpark is beautiful. It's a jewel.
And the TV rights will be interesting given this new announcement from MLB about Netflix, ESPN. ESPN will pretty much now have the Padre games, but there's a lot to explain there, which we don't have time for today. We'll get into that as the season gets closer. But for now, thanks for joining us. We loved giving you all this content today, and we will be here next week. You two send them off as you always do.
Bye!
Aztecs beat San Jose State and go on to win the conference championship.
What about San Diego State versus Michigan, John Howard? Men's basketball.
That's a tight one. Aztecs win by 1.
Oh, here we go.
Goodbye. Love it.